Hey, what's up, everybody? So tonight for dinner, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna reheat those smoked pork ribs that I took care of and barbecued yesterday, and then we're gonna make a rice pilaf to go with it. All right, so first things first, for the rice pilaf, I'm gonna get the burner on like a medium heat. I already have my onions in a small dice and my garlic minced up. I showed you how to do that in my video earlier today. So then tonight, we're just gonna go ahead and we'll just do a dice of a orange bell pepper to go in with that as well. You don't have to use peppers or bell peppers in your pilaf. Onions, garlic, celery are all good options. But this one I'm going to do a little bit different. And that's the great thing about doing a rice pilaf is really once you get the technique down, you can go ahead and incorporate whatever flavors you want depending on what you're making. So as you saw, I went ahead and I cut it and rolled out the seeds. I'm gonna just take those, a little bit of extra white membrane out of there. I like to split my pepper then into thirds depending on how big it is. And with the skin down, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna cut it into strips. And then we'll go ahead and we'll dice it in the opposite direction. The reason why you want to make sure you have nice even cuts is so that everything cooks evenly. If things aren't cut so that they're even, they're not going to cook even. Some are going to be mushy, some are going to be undercooked. For the rice, I'm going to use a basmati rice. You can use lots of different types of long grain rices for your pilaf. Jasmine, standard, traditional, generic, long grain is fine too. I prefer the basmati. I feel it gives us a much better flavor. So that's just why I use it. All right, now whenever you make rice, you want to make sure that you rinse the rice. You know, there's a lot of starch in rice. As the bag has been transported and everything, little starch granules fall off. So I just put it in some cold water, kind of swirl it around a little bit. You can see that the water has become more of a cloudy color. And so I'm going to go ahead and I will repeat that step, usually 2 more times until the water is running clear. Now, once again, I've added some more water in here. And we're just going to swirl it around a little bit more. They kind of are a little bit abrasive to each other and help to scrub themselves off. So you see it's a little bit more clear now, but still a little opaque. So we're going to rinse it one more time. Okay, so we've refilled it with water one more time. We're scrubbing it around again. And as you can see, now my water is clear. So now our rice is good to go. It's been rinsed thoroughly multiple times, 3 times to be exact. Depending on your rice, you might have to wash it more than that. But I like to do that because with all that extra starch in there, what can happen is when your rice cooks, that starch is going to cook too. And it's going to cause your rice to get stuck, clumped, and then sometimes you can wind up burning the bottom of your pot because of that. All right, now we have our slightly larger cast iron here. This one, I believe, is about a 12-inch cast iron. It's warmed up. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put just a little bit of a avocado oil, probably about a teaspoon of avocado oil, or something that's got a high smoking point. For stuff like this, I don't typically use olive oil unless it's a heat pressed pumice olive oil. Other than that, I don't use the extra virgin olive oil that everyone loves. So we're just gonna let those onions just start to cook for maybe 15 to 30 seconds just to start to soften up. We'll give those a little stir, and then we'll go ahead and we'll add in our orange peppers. Now our goal here is not to brown them. We're not looking to get a ton of color on them. We're just trying to soften them up, get the onions translucent, and that's just going to make sure that they're fully cooked by the time we are done with our rice. Now I do have my oven set at 350. I have it set at 350 because when I'm done in the pan here and it's ready to put a cover on my rice and just let it cook, we're going to put it in the oven to finish at about 350. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in some minced garlic now. We'll go ahead and we'll add in a little bit of salt and pepper. Just regular kosher salt. I don't use a ton of iodized salt because of the... Sorry, my son's in the background trying to talk to the doggies. Or to me, I'm not sure. Don't worry, I'm not neglecting my son. My wife is taking care of him. And I don't use a lot of iodized salt. If you eat a good seafood diet, you're going to get the iodine that you need in your diet. The problem is with the iodized salt is that quite often that's going to make your food taste saltier and not actually expand the flavor and enhance the flavor of the food. Salt is a flavor enhancer, and it's the iodine that makes it taste a lot saltier than it truly is. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of, once again, I use Hungarian paprika. You can use it whatever kind of paprika you like. I really like the Hungarian paprika. Now this is a sweet Hungarian paprika. You can get spicy ones as well, but we don't want that spicy flavor here for this. Now I'm going to just drizzle in just a little bit more oil, maybe about another teaspoon there. And then we'll add in our rice. Now, as I'm cooking this, it's going to allow my paprika to actually toast up a little bit. So it'll get a deeper color. It'll get more depth of flavor. Got my homemade chicken stock, 2 cups to 1 cup of rice. We'll go ahead and we'll dump that in. Give it 1 stir. You don't want to stir your rice too much. That's how you break it up and get it mushy. And we're just going to bring that back to like a simmering boil before we put it in the oven. All right, it's starting to come back to a boil now. So I'm going to give it 1 more quick stir, just to make sure that everything is off the bottom and not sticking. I'm also at this point, I'm going to take my pork ribs that we smoked yesterday, and I'm just going to place them across the top, just like that. Give a little bit of room for them to breathe in between, give a little shimmy shake, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll take our foil. Careful not to burn yourself, because this cast iron is hot. Believe it or not, even though my hands are right on it, it is hot. So just be careful. And we're going to take that. We'll put that in the oven. And then we're going to set our timer for 10 minutes. So just to talk about a couple things while the rice pilaf and the ribs are cooking in the oven. The reason why I set the timer for 10 minutes is they're going to go ahead and they're going to continue to simmer and boil for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to take them out of the oven, let them sit on the counter for another 10 minutes. The cast iron is hot, the liquid is hot, and the rice will continue to cook. I do it the same way if I do rice on the stove. I will bring it to a boil, turn it down to a medium, and simmer it for 10 minutes. And then I'll take it off the burner for another 10 minutes before I remove the lid and fold my rice. So the ribs sat on the counter for about 30 minutes to come and just kind of take a little bit of the chill off of them as they continue to cook in the oven with the rice. That's going to warm them back up, bring them back up to a serving temperature, but then it's going to impart a really nice smoked flavor into that rice. It's going to complement the Hungarian paprika that we toasted up in the pan really well. You'll see when I'm done. It's gonna be nice. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and take the foil off. These cooked in the oven for 10 minutes, and then I took them out to rest for another 10 minutes. So first things first, and those look good. We're gonna go ahead and we'll just take the ribs off the rice, put them on a separate plate. Now I have my ribs removed, and I have folded the rice, let some of the residual steam out. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get the ribs ready. All right, now let's go ahead and we'll get the ribs ready. Now what I just like to do is I like to take them right where the bones are, bend it right in half, and that'll give you a nice piece there. It's real simple because the spare ribs have that straight bone, and then this whole top part is cartilage, but it is tasty. Let's go ahead and we'll just split these a little bit to more manageable sized ribs. Once again, I'm not necessarily the most fancy chef, but the food tastes great. Now those look juicy. Talk about a juicy rib. Those are nice. And for a real nice, easy presentation, I just leave the rice right there in the cast iron. It's going to keep it warm. And then just pile up the rib bones just right there in the middle. All right, everybody. I appreciate you watching my video. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And now, time for me to go ahead and enjoy this. So good. Tender, juicy, but still has a nice bit of chew to it. Doesn't just fall apart. Once again, we just quickly reheated some of the ribs from last night that I had been smoking all day. We made a nice rice pilaf, a smoky rice pilaf. I appreciate you watching. Look forward to the next one.